Guys, how's it going? It's Al. Week 7 on DraftKings coming up quickly, and we are going to take questions, and I'm going to give answers from my Twitch chat here on Twitch where we're recording this show. Hi, YouTube. How are you? Hi, today. How are you guys? We're going to go over everything on this Week 7 slate. It's an ugly slate, okay? But there's money up top, and somebody's got to win it, so it may as well be us. So let's take the best look that we can on how to build cash game lineups today, how we can be contrarian in tournaments smartly, which plays are we going to look for in specific price ranges, game selection, anything. How does a slate like this, a shorter slate, A, with 6 teams on bye week, and B, that has the good teams that are remaining playing basically on island games, making this kind of a different animal this week. What are you going to be changing in your process? What are you scared of? What are you confident about? We'll take those questions for the next 45 minutes to an hour, try and get ourselves a little bit more refined. And then by the time you're watching this, the cheat sheet is live in our community Discord. So if you want access to that, you got to join the Discord, smizzle.tv/Discord. You got to become a channel member here on YouTube, smizzle.tv/join. We'll take you directly there to pay the $5 a month. Then you've just got to link your Discord to the account, the same email that you subscribe here on YouTube with must be your Discord login. There's an instructions folder in Discord to help you walk through that, as well as all of our mods on the channel to try and make it a little bit easier for you. So thank you guys for being here. Drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, ring the notifications bell, and let's go.
He's a legend.
The Week 7 Smiz Gang Listener League is posted. It is $10. It is 3 max to enter. It is $45,000 in the prize pool, and it is absolutely no rake, meaning that all of those things combined make sure that it is the best tournament on DraftKings, but it is not available in the DraftKings lobby. If you wanted to find the link to this league, you got to go to the link tree. That's smizzle.tv/links. It is right there. Look, here's the link tree. You can follow me on Twitch, Instagram. There's the link to the listener league. You can join the Discord. Everything that you need is right there in that link tree. Smizzle.tv/links will take you there. Make sure that you join it. If we fill it, they will not make it smaller. If we don't fill it, they're probably going to make it smaller. So 10% of the prize money goes to first, 10% of the first place prize goes to 10th place, and I will shout out the top 10 people who finish in this tournament on the Monday recap video. Side note, congratulations to Jared Rosen, my cousin from Denver, who came in 14th last week. You did not get a shout out on the recap video, but I gave you one on this one. So let's bring in the chat, see how everybody is doing. We're going to be polling the chat for the cash game plays, chat's consensus cash game core. My cash game core is in the cheat sheet, which will be in Discord by the time you're watching this on YouTube. It looks like, unless there is some late love, I know who the cash game quarterback is going to be. So I will plug that in here, and I will talk to you about it later. We're going to take their questions. I saw one question, and the first question that I saw was, how do we pivot off of the Zach Evans chalk at running back? So this is kind of the question, right? Because I don't think that it is a sure thing, although it seems like a likely thing, that Zach Evans is going to be the running back for the Rams. I got a haircut this morning, so my face is all itchy. Apologize for continually scratching my face. Kyren Williams, the great Kyren Williams, by the way, is out. He is not going to play this week, may not return until like week 10. Ronnie Rivers on IR. He's out. That leaves us with 3 cats. 2 of them are 4,000. 1 of them is 4,400. Zach Evans, presumed to be the next guy in line, is a rookie. We know a couple things we know 3 things specifically about Coach McVay. 1, I don't trust Sean McVay. That's number 1. Number 2 things that we know about him, he plays his number 1 running back 70+% of the snaps and gives him 70+% of the touches. Whoever that main guy is, that's the volume they're going to get. We also know that Sean McVay does not like playing rookie running backs. So while we believe that Zach Evans is going to be the main guy, we also got a little word from him on a press conference, but I refer you back to rule number 1 about Sean McVay, where he basically said, well, you know, I don't know if Zach Evans is going to get all the touches this week, but like, he's told us the truth once in the last 7 years. That's just, and that one time was Cooper Kupp. So at least it was the most recent time that Cooper Kupp's going to come in and be ready to go immediately. He also told us that Cam Akers was really going to shine this year and that Todd Gurley was a big part of their Super Bowl game plan. Like, this dude has lied to us like he breathes. It's an involuntary response. He lies like you blink. It's just going to happen. So we do have to consider the fact that Myles Gaskin is in play. I believe that a lot of the reason for him not liking rookie running backs is their inability to pick up pass blocking schemes and coverage and understand that. But if like a young player does get that, like Kyron Williams had their trust, but then got hurt last year early in the season and just never really recovered and jumped into the rotation. They have Gaskin. They have Royce Freeman. Like, I can't imagine that they're going to give Royce Freeman 20 opportunities this weekend. I could see Myles Gaskin getting like 15 opportunities. Zach Evans is the most spry, was like a superstar prospect coming out of high school, very pedigreed football player. And they spent a lot of draft equity to go get him this year. Not like first round equity, but they spent equity on it. So like, this is a situation where you are going to have to put the pieces of the puzzle together for yourself. Realize that insiders will have the information before we do. Do not trust whatever Sean McVay says. I would trust things that like Shefty says, and Shefty is usually very forthcoming about that whenever he knows anything. So kind of like Forrest Gump, that's all I have to say about that. If you guys were wondering what the QR code, like down there in the corner, right over there, I had to figure out kind of where it is. That QR code deals with our yearly fundraiser for No Kid Hungry, getting food to food insecure kids across the country. School breakfast, school lunches. Take a picture with your phone, grab your phone and go to the photos and like take a picture of that and donate some money. If you do not have a phone on you, don't want to go through that QR code, smizzle.tv/charity will take you right there. We're trying to raise $30,000 this year. You can see the ticker up there. If you donate, you'll see your name up there, all those sorts of things. So it isn't like stupid rookies running back. Yeah, basically that's kind of like that's kind of the way it is. Is Henderson not involved? He may be. And that's the other thing. So like Henderson's there, but he's just not on the slate yet. I assume that they're going to add him if he gets added to the, to the 53 man. Stafford Stack's going to be underowned. I think they're in play. I also think that I want to talk about this thing for this slate. So I didn't want to say this in the run up to the show. I wanted to save it for the show. So this is a very ugly slate. Okay. Let's just all agree on that this is not a pretty slate. First of all, it's a smaller slate. It's only 10 games. Usually we have 3 games off the slate: Thursday night, Sunday night, Monday night. 13 games is the usual. It's not a Saturday special. It's not a Thanksgiving slate. It's not a super short slate, right? But it is smaller than normal. You have 6 less teams than a full slate on this one, with 6 teams on bye. And then beyond the 6 teams on bye week, some of the good teams are on like the offenses that provide us with players, like the Jaguars. As ugly as the Saints looked on Thursday Night Football, they're an offense that has players that are viable in tournaments on weekends, with Thomas and Kamara and Olave and all of the Jaguars, Christian Kirk and ETN. It's like we're losing those guys. Lose the Dolphins, lose the Eagles, lose the 49ers, and we lose the Vikings. So like all the teams that were left to us that aren't taking a week off on their Barco loungers, they're not even on the slate. So we've got a morning full of low totals, like just absurdly low totals in the morning. Beyond the absurdly low totals in the morning, then we have a couple of high totaled games in the afternoon, but they're extremely expensive. KC and the Chargers, all the best options are expensive, save like Palmer, who's 4,800. Rashee Rice, none of the receivers on Kansas City have a high price to them, but none of them are going to pop as values because nobody gets enough volume. The Chargers are all super expensive, not named Palmer. Love and Russ are going to be in play, but also Green Bay really good at shutting down one wide receiver, but not 2. So that means that they're probably going to lock their number 1 guy on Cortland Sutton, which means do you have the testicular fortitude to actually roster Jerry Jeudy? None of the Denver running backs get enough volume as they limit all of them. Now McLaughlin's been added to the list at 5K, who's getting 9 opportunities a game just to muddy this even more. So now it's a 3-headed monster with Javonte, McLaughlin, and Pirine all in the mix. You go over to Seattle and Arizona. A lot of people are going to gravitate towards Seattle because it's a great matchup. Arizona really bad against opposing running backs. Seattle playing at home, Arizona has a lot of value at wide receiver with Marquise Brown probably popping as one of the best values on the slate. Mike Wilson, sub 4K, who has touchdown upside. We've seen him score a 2-touchdown game so far. Then at tight end, now we have Zach Ertz, who has been the perennial value play so far this year. But the Zach Ertz clone, Zach Ertz -1, it's too close. You can't have two tight ends with the same exact build. One of them wears 86 and the other one wears 85. So like anytime you roster Zach Ertz and they throw it to McBride, you kind of get like, oh, it's my guy, and then it's not your guy, and you get that, it's the worst. So like he got 5 targets, so now that's terrible. And then you got the Rams with their value running back, and Cooper Kupp is 9,500 and looks like the most sure thing, high floor, high ceiling guy on the slate. Puka Nacua is still too expensive at 7,600. With the return of Cooper Kupp, he's profiles more as like a $6,400 wide receiver, so he's massively overpriced, so he's going to be low owned. He does have ceiling. And then we have two things on Pittsburgh. Deontay Johnson should return, was a full practice participant on Wednesday. He is back. He's going to return from IR. But then Pat Freiermuth is going to be out. He's going to miss this weekend's game. So the value option is a bring back play there. This slate sucks, is basically what I'm trying to tell you, right? Now, I don't think they need to cut McBride. They just can't let him wear a number that's shaped like a 6. That's not okay. He can't wear 88 and he can't wear 85. That's not cool. He's got to be 81, 82. He could be 89. Can't do that, right? Not going to allow it. You're going to lock a lot of PMR and Josh Allen. So PMR is going to be very, I don't think if you're winning the tournament, whatever tournament you're in, before the 1 p.m. game, like at the end of the witching hour, right? Games and scores can really change. If you're in first place, you probably aren't going to be in first place later, because somebody's going to hit all the stuff you hit in the morning, and then they're going to have afternoon player minutes remaining. For those of you who are going to ask, what is PMR? PMR means player minutes remaining, how much time you have left on your roster. Speaking of Pittsburgh, what are your thoughts on Connor Hayward? I don't want to play either of those tight ends. I think the rookie's more exciting, but like they're not playing him. When anytime Freiermuth's been out, they're not playing any. I just like the receivers more. I think Pickens, who might have seen a downtick in terms of his volume, might see a little bit more of an uptick, or not an uptick, but he'll kind of stay about where he's been. And then Deontay's going to get his 8+ targets because that's what he does. He just kind of gets open. Where wins become losses and losses become wins. Yes. Welcome to Double Jeopardy, where the scores can really change. But if you had to choose, I refuse. I'm not going to do that. What is my favorite cheap bring back in Allen stacks? All right, let's look at that. Somebody asked a running back question earlier. There's running back plays that are 5,100 and down that you don't have to go 4K for Zach Evans, but I'll get to that in just a minute because my mind is here right now. So you're saying Allen stack, so I assume you're going to do something like this and then bang, bang, right? Or maybe like that and then one of the tight ends. Like it's one or the other. You're playing Davis or you're playing the tight ends. So you want to know who the bring back plays are on New England? There's a few. Buffalo has not been great at stopping the run this year, and they just lost their second defensive tackle. So Ramondre could be a little bit more efficient on the ground than he has been previously. We saw a return to form from him with the usage in the passing game. With the losses that they've had in the passing game, they just leaned a little bit more on Ramondre. They do project to play from behind in that game. So there is possibility for increased efficiency on the ground with sustained usage in the passing game. I think he is somebody that we can look at. Kendrick Bourne, I don't care how slow he ran in the combine. This is what matters. Targets matter, not 40 time. And he is getting enough of them. But understand that this passing game is hyper terrible and totally unpredictable. And a possibility for a 5 or less target game is possibly in the cards at 4,400. So like he's fine. I know that some people want to rationalize going for Parker, but he has just not been a part of this passing game at all. He could randomly spike, I suppose, but over 4 targets only one time this year. And then at tight end, like, I don't know, if Henry's out, maybe Gesicki. Like at least he's athletic and cheap. You know, if Henry's back, he was a non-participant on Thursday. If he's a non-participant Friday, then I guess Gesicki's fine if you wanted to get super cheap and then pay up elsewhere because you're paying up for this stack. So like that would probably be the order for me, would be Stevenson and then Bourne and then Gesicki would be the route that I would most likely want to go with that trio. I was asked earlier, and I'm sorry for putting this off, about pivots off of Zach Evans or Rams running backs more specifically, which Rams running backs would you like to pivot off of? So I think we kind of just have to look at cheap running backs. I don't think that there's a 4K pivot, right? I don't think there's somebody that's stone minimum that's going to get it. But like, I think there are some plays down there that have volume that we can focus on. One being Jerome Ford. Yes, they have Kareem Hunt. Yes, Kareem Hunt scored a touchdown last week, but also that's not mutually exclusive to Jerome Ford getting 19 opportunities again. Against Baltimore, they got throttled, so he only got 15 opportunities, but 6 of those came in the passing game, 13 against Tennessee, and 20 against Pittsburgh in the game where Nick Chubb got hurt. So like 15 plus opportunities, including solid usage in the passing game, regardless of who the quarterback is going to be, whether it's going to be PJ Walker, whether it's going to be Deshaun Watson. We'll figure that part out. Jerome Ford's in play either way. Rashad White, 5,100, another pivot. I know Atlanta is a tough defense to deal with for running backs. I prefer Ford to White, but White is in play. If you think that this is the week that Jaylen Warren kind of takes over, his volume has increased. His snap count has increased. His volume has increased. He's like one play away from maybe being the best second half 0 RB type guy, 40% type guy on the list, right? So like, if they pivot off of Harris, just like, you're not good enough right now, you're not getting it done, we're just going to give Jalen 65% of the snaps and touches. Or if he gets hurt, I'm not rooting for any injury, but like Jaylen Warren could be a guy who just goes nuts. McLaughlin's getting like a third of the work. Ingram's got less snaps than like 12 opportunities, but got less snaps than DeMarcado last week, who got like no touches. He played like 33 snaps and Ingram played 31, and Ingram out-touched him by like 4x. Then we come down to somebody like, if you really want to get loose, no, not enough volume. Shocking. People were drafting him over Brian Robinson like all offseason. The interesting one is Roschon Johnson. Still in concussion protocol. Did not practice on Thursday. Monitor today's Friday practice report. If he comes back and if he plays, I think he is probably your most viable sub 5K guy. But if you're not paying 4K, you're going up to the other price. You know, you're going up to like 5,100 in that range. Like, he's really the only guy. If you really feel like getting froggy and going for somebody with no work in the pass game, 4,500 for Latavius Murray. You're praying for a 2 touchdown game. Like, it's all of these guys are push and pray type guys, where the Rams running back is not really going to be a push and pray, because you know whoever the Rams guy is going to get 65-70% of the snaps and touches. Dante Freeman if Johnson's out, sure, just like last week, should get a lot of volume. Rams guy is going to get a lot of checkdowns. I mean, why do you think that? Digitalized Lotus, thank you for the tier 1. C Money 129, thank you for the 4 months. On 1 p.m., only 100 man can play Ford and Hunt, and then the dudes at wide receiver. 1 p.m. So I'm assuming you're East Coast or you West Coast. 1 p.m. means something different to me. Early only or late only? Zach Evans doesn't catch or pass block, so fade. I don't know that we can say that. I think that you're projecting. Early only, I would not play 2 running backs on the same team. Do I like McLaurin as a one-off GPP play? You can. I don't love it. Did you see the video that they're like working out Jahan Dotson today at practice at Holder? What are they up to? What are y'all doing over there in Washington? You guys are crazy. What do you got, Jahan Dotson being your kick holder now? Are you planning some shenanigans? Are they doing a thing where like they're going to snap it and he's just going to like run like an option and go fake the option and go with it? I don't know what they're doing. What are you guys doing over there? I saw 3 of the 4. Oh no, I saw 4. Let's do the cash game core for chat. Let's do the cash game core. The chat said we're going to start at quarterback. Chat says that their consensus cash game core. Now they vote on this at the top of chat. We take the 5 highest projected owned quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, and tight ends. Chat votes which one is their consensus cash game play. They arrived at Geno Smith for their cash game play at running back. They're also going to play Ken Walker III. In tournaments, that might be something you don't want to do. In cash games, you're playing the best values. You don't want too many guys from one team, but if guys project as a value, it's okay to play them on the same team. At wide receiver, they're saying, screw value, we want to pay for Cooper Kupp. Who can fault them? They're going to lock in their 27 points and make the other people figure out there is enough value on the slate to kind of make something like that work. And at tight end, they are not paying up, they are paying down, going for Luke Musgrave and his mustache at 3,300, going up against the Denver messes. I don't know. They're a hot mess everywhere. So this is what chat's cash game core is. You can compare that to my cash game core in the cheat sheet if you're a channel member here on the YouTubes. Cup will probably be your most owned player. I don't have a problem with that. Thoughts on full stacking games on a short slate, more than 4 players from the same game? Sure. It's got to score a lot of points though, right? You have to go get players from games or teams that project to score a lot of points. So like when I'm stacking, I'm looking for 2 things. I'm looking for a quarterback that has the opportunity, higher probability than what the double stack is going to be played by the field, to get me 25, 30 plus points, depending on what their price is. So like if I'm playing Joshua Dobbs, the probability of him having a 30 plus point fantasy day are pretty low, but also the prices to stack that team are also low. So I don't need a 30 plus point game from him. I might be able to get there on an expensive secondary stack. So I'm looking for guys that can do that. Secondarily, I'm looking for completions, because DraftKings being full PPR with 100-yard bonuses allows you to get there on volume even if they don't have a ton of touchdowns, right? A quarterback can get you there with a rushing touchdown, 1 or 2 passing touchdowns, and 350 yards passing, which is in Dobbs's wheelhouse. He could do that. And then if he completes 26 or more passes, those wide receivers are going to get there just on volume alone. So like, I think that completions are something that is very overlooked when it comes to stacks. Obviously, we want touchdown upside, but touchdowns are way more random and less predictable than on a week in, week out basis, on a single game basis, than something like volume. Player pool shrinks on a slate like this in tournaments or expands. So thank you for leading me to this question. I do a video every single Saturday. We record it on Friday here on Twitch. Some of you guys like it. It's one of my most viewed videos of the week. It's called 5 Under 5. We're going to do that video again this week. However, you need to understand, on a short slate kind of like this one, because of the way the slate is, there are 6 less teams than a full slate, being 13 games. So there's going to be less than, less plays overall, let's say. And so therefore, especially with the teams that I mentioned earlier that are off the slate who have deep, high volume, high scoring offenses, that's going to give us less viable under 5% plays, because there's just not as many players. As a slate shrinks, the percentages heighten. You have less players to go to. Think about it like on a showdown, or on the Saturday specials, Thanksgiving slates, 2-3 game slates, where you've got to go and you're like, well, I can't get somebody that's he's going to be 20% played. Yeah, on a 3-game slate, that's not so bad. So when it comes to a slate like this one, under 5% plays are still viable, but there's going to be less under 5% plays that projectable 5% plays that are going to have a projectable ceiling as well at 25 or 30 plus DraftKings points. So getting multiple players under 10% on a slate like this is very much like getting players under 5% on a full slate. What is my process of building lineups? I have a how to win playlist on YouTube. !win in the chat. There are tons of videos that will walk you through all of those things: cash games, tournaments, what all those things mean, everything else. I probably have to come out with a daily fantasy glossary video and just go for 10 minutes on what does this mean? What does PMR mean? What is a GPP lineup? What is a cash game lineup? What is the difference between a cash game and a GPP? Like, I have to go through all of those glossary terms because I'm getting asked them constantly. Is double tight end more viable this week? People love playing double tight end. Why? I never understand that. People are always looking for like these fringe kind of ways to go about things, right? I'm not trying to point you out, Jay Blue. I'm just saying, like, on Showdown, hey, is it, and the word is always viable. Is it viable to play on Showdown, to play all the skill position players with neither quarterback? I mean, like, it could happen, but it doesn't mean. Should you stay away from Goff on the road? Why? He did all right last week on the road in Tampa Bay. Home road splits can be very noisy. Does Hardman unlock the KC Charger stacks? How many snaps do you think he's going to play? He clearly knows the playbook. Goff is going to get the superstar tag in Rainmakers. I kind of feel like it's going to be Amon-Ra St. Brown. Is Deshaun Watson viable in cash at 56 tournament? Sure. If he's going to go, he's certainly viable. Deshaun Watson, like, I don't think it's a pay up for QB week. I don't. I think it's very possibly a pay up for tight end week, even though chat's core said that it wasn't. I think you can afford to pay up for tight end. I think the standard route that people are going to go, meta roster build this week, is going to be 2 6,000 or more running backs. I think everybody's going to be here in cash. I think people are going to be split between Josh Jacobs and Pacheco. One or the other, right? And maybe you could fit all three, but I think people are going to go with 2. And then I believe that the other place people are going to go after that at running back is the Rams. Let's just say, for the sake of this segment, that it's going to be Zach Evans. If it's somebody else, play the other guy. But like, I think this is going to be your standard running back that are on the slate. I also think nobody's paying up at wide receiver. I don't think anybody's going for these guys in cash games at wide out, even though chat wants Cooper Kupp, and I think that Cooper Kupp is extremely viable. I think that most people are going to be led down this road and go with Kelsey. I think that wide receivers are going to fall in this 5,300 and down range. I think this is a cash game guy. I think this is going to be a cash game guy. And I think 3,000 or less at defense. The Giants are fine. The Chiefs at 2,400, sure, even though Herbert's torn them up over the years. That offense does seem to be turnover prone. Ravens against Detroit at 2,500, sure. Falcons against Baker, sure. But like, I think that's going to be, and that leaves you 5,900 per player. Like, I just think that that's going to be the standard build, which is going to lead people. And that's why I think that people are going to be able to either go up to like here and go with Josh Jacobs and have 5,200, which is more than enough with the values that are out there. I think that that's probably going to be, if not the meta cash game build, that's going to be the standard, is that people are not going to pay up at wide receiver. I think they are going to pay up at tight end because it's a differentiator position. Is Minshew a value play for GPP? Sure. Anything's viable in GPP as long as you play it right. It's not about the player, guys. That's the thing. That gets missed by so many people for so long. Can I play this player in a tournament? I mean, do you think that position player, running back, wide receiver, tight end, has a possibility of scoring over 25 points? Is that probability of him scoring over 25 points greater than the percentage that he is going to be played by the field? So the possibility that he ends up in an optimal or a top 1% lineup, is that greater than the number of the people that are going to play him? And C, can you correlate that player? Is there something I can use to correlate that player on the other side? Those are the questions you should be asking. Not, is the guy viable? Everyone's viable. Freaking Desmond Ridder won the Millionaire Maker last week. Everything's viable. Mike White has won a Millionaire Maker. But you know what won Mike White that Millionaire Maker? I think he was paired with Michael Carter, who caught 10 passes, and one of his wide receivers. It's the correlation that wins. It's not the one-off. Thoughts on Bijan? Go for it. If you think that he is a better play than the other two guys, then go for it. But I'm not trying to get cute in cash, which is another problem that a lot of players have. You know, players try to get really cute with their cash game lineups. Brian Robinson, he could have been Bijan. Like, this is a problem with using initials. Which Denver wide receiver do I think Jair shadows? I think they move Judy around more, so I think Judy will see less of him. I don't think Jair travels to the slot. I could be wrong on that. I'd have to look it up. Adam's squeaky wheel game. Yeah, it's probably the squeakiest wheel in the history. Sorry, it's him. He's the same squeaky wheel that Jamar Chase was earlier this season. Is not using an optimizer in 2023 a losing proposition? It depends what you'd want to use the optimizer for. I think it's an amazing tool that helps out a lot. What are my favorite cheap double stacks on the slate? You're gonna have to check the cheat sheet for that. That would be in the cheat sheet, which is available to Twitch subs and YouTube channel members for only $5 a month at smizzle.tv/join. Then you join the Discord. See that by the time you're watching this on YouTube, that's already up there. When will Lavs have Sims? Soon, TM. That's when they're going to have Sims. It's going to be soon. I don't know exactly when. Let's go over to Underdog Fantasy. We're going to do a pick'em for this week. We got a Marquise Brown over 56.5 total yards against Seattle. Higher! I feel like this is Card Sharks, but I can only say the word higher when it comes to these. Which game do we want to go with? We talked a lot about Josh Jacobs. So let's go. Josh Jacobs in his 25 opportunities this week against Chicago. I'm going to say he scores a touchdown. Let's say Devontae Adams, higher than 68.5 receiving yards. The squeakiest wheel since 7-Eleven a few weeks ago. Where else can we go? Who else have we talked? We talked about a lot about the Chiefs, and we talked a lot about Seattle. Let's find two things on this game. We already got the one, so let's bring this back with, Ken Walker scoring a touchdown this week. He's the chalk. So we're going to play the chalky cash game hires here. Where's the other one? I need to find one more. I got to get rid of this game, and I got to go to Chargers, and that's not Chargers. This game. Justin Herbert has averaged in his career, all his games against Kansas City, has averaged 290 something passing yards per game and 2.5 touchdowns per game. I'm going to go higher on him for $100. I can only go $20. Oh, this sucks. Can't even do 22. $20 to win 400. That's what we're going to do. If you do not have an account over at Underdog Fantasy, you can get up to $500 on a first-time deposit to the site. Just use promo code ALSMIZZLE, ALSMIZZLE. If you deposit $500 and you are new to Underdog Fantasy, they will plop $500 new dollars right into your account that you can use for pick'em games or battle royales or best ball drafts or anything else. So make sure that you go check them out. Make sure that you use that code. Claim your $500 free dollars today. There's my pick'em. We're going to try. Picks unavailable. Oh my God, why did they remove it? It's there. All right, I can't do that then. Fine. That's what we're doing. It's a pick 4 now. Sucks. But it's the 100K Sunday. So 10 people will get picked randomly to win 10K. So we're going to try and do that. They're giving away free money. Why would you not play? Any narratives anyone likes this week? So we're going to take a stroll down narrative street. We already mentioned the biggest narrative. I don't have the quote, like the exact quote, but essentially Devontae Adams said, our offense isn't really running really well right now. But if you want the offense to run really well, you should throw me the ball more because I'm good on offense and I want to win football games. And so if you and I are like-minded, Raiders coaches, and you want to win football games, you should throw the ball more to me because then the offense would look better. We would score more points and then we would win more football games. So to channel his inner Keyshawn Johnson, throw me the damn ball. There's your narrative street player of the week. You'd trust Hoyer more than AOC? Did you see what he did with AOC earlier this year? He was targeted 13 times in that game. Throw him the ball. Just give the ball to the guy who's good at football. A lot. That should be what you're trying to do. Give the ball to the guy who's really good at football. What's the difference between a Fantasy Labs lineup builder and Sims? Sims isn't a lineup builder. Sims is a lineup evaluator. Fantasy Labs is going to be coming out with their Sims product. If you wanted a discounted membership to Fantasy Labs, go to smizzle.tv/labs with an uppercase L. The solver is a exclamation point solver in the chat. The solver is a lineup builder, much like Fantasy Labs, much like any lineup builder that's out there. You plug the projections in, you give it rules, it's going to build you lineups. And then, for the love of God, why is the door to my studio slamming? People are going nuts in my house right now. I don't even know what's happening. So if you were to build, chat really liked, what did you guys like? You like Geno. So I'm gonna do this in the background while I'm talking about it. I'm gonna build 150 Geno lineups here on the solver. Okay, so here it is. It's in the background. It's running 150 Geno Smith double stacks, basically. After it builds those, I'm going to take it and I'm going to have it simulate the slate 10,000 times to take a look at these Geno Smith lineups and then figure out which ones, based on how the simulations work, what percentage of the time players end up in the optimal lineup, and combinations of those players give you an edge over the field using all of that information. Everything that we talk about and try to do manually in our own brains, the simulators do quicker, faster, more efficiently, and you can shape it based on the game that you're playing. So like if you're playing mass multi-entry, you can compare the lineups that you just built versus the slant. Where other people have mass multi-entry, it's a larger field. Or you can go with like high stakes single entry, the juke, the game changer, the double spy. So based on that field, you click that, you tell it to run, and then it's going to spit out some answers to us based on what it kind of thinks for those lineups. Go to smizzle.tv/solver if you wanted to get a new subscription to the solver. That would help the stream out as well. Very easy. It just takes a little bit of time. It's something that I've added to the Sims are something that I've added to my lineup building process throughout this season. And sometimes it works and sometimes it does not work. But like based on the Geno Smith lineups, it thinks that this would be the worst Geno Smith lineup that it builds. It didn't like these of the 150. You can see it has a cash rate that's really low. It's got lower ceilings. You can see the percentage owned that those lineups are, the average score that lineup has, and the projected return on investment for those lineups, as opposed to the other side where we sort by highest. It thinks that these are the best ones that it has. These are the best lineups that we ran in it as it ran the simulations to give you the best returns based on everything that it built. So going 150 Geno lineups, maybe a good idea, maybe not. But these are the ones that project versus the projections, the ceilings, the projections owned, the ownership projections, everything else. It likes these Geno lineups the best. So like it's something that you can use as a guide to kind of help you see how this machine is looking at the thing. If he plays, is this not a smash Aaron Jones week? I'm assuming that he plays. It's a great lineup or matchup for him if he plays and if he gets full usage. I'm assuming he plays. Do I like SaberSims? I have never used SaberSims, so I don't have an answer for you. I can't give you an opinion on a product that I've never used. Philly D45, thank you for the 22 months. How do I feel about Jahmyr Gibbs in cash? I think he's unnecessary. I would rather have Pacheco for 200 less. So I don't think he is somebody that I'm considering for cash right now, but it's Friday, 48 hours before kickoff. So like, I can't really give you a full on answer. You know, like my opinion may change as the weekend goes along, but as of right now, not a big fan. Ken Walker or Aaron Jones this week? I mean, Ken Walker. Do I think Michael Mayer or Meyer, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, and I do feel that people deserve to have their last names pronounced correctly, so I'm going to have to look it up if it's Mayer or Meyer, was a fluke. No, his snaps and routes and targets have all been increasing over the last 3 weeks. Rookie tight ends do kind of come along slowly, but like it's Mayer. Okay, thank you. I'll pronounce it correctly. Even though it's can I pronounce it until Halloween Meyer? Can I do that just because of this season? Feels a lot like 33% each of Rams, Bills, and Chargers stacks type. You can play whoever you want as long as you play them the right way. I don't care what the player names are. I care about how you build the lineup. There's already a Myers on that team. Yeah, but he's named after a law firm in Southern California. Yeah, Michael. Yeah, I'm going to play Michael Meyer until Halloween, and then I will pronounce his name Michael Mayer as it is intended to be played. And if like, I need a picture of him in uniform, but with the Halloween Michael Myers face under the face mask. That's what I need. I need that. So that when he scores a touchdown, I can post that and say like spooky touchdown on Twitter. That would be good. For GPPs, is it better to crunch ceilings or projection? You mean like in a simulator? There's no right answer for that. So they're going to produce different things. So like speaking specifically about like Showdown, right? Because that's where I think it makes the biggest difference. When you simulate lineups or when you project lineups for projection, you're going to get guys on median. When you project guys on ceiling, you're going to get defenses have a different ceiling than like a wide receiver. So if you want to get more defenses and kickers in your Showdown lineups, you know, make lineups by projected, you know, by the median score. You'll get more quarterbacks, more kickers, more defense because their medians are higher than the other guys. If you want to get less of them, like I usually do, you should sort by ceiling, and you're going to end up with more wide receivers, tight ends, running backs in your Showdown slates. It's not an average, you know, median is not exactly average, but there's a line that I like a lot. I use this when I coach a lot. If you want to be average, do what average people do. If you want to be excellent, you can't do average things. If your goal is to be great, you can't mimic average outcomes. So take that as it is for daily fantasy as well. Everybody's, well, this guy's safe, or I trust this guy. Well, if you trust that guy, then that's extremely average, right? If they're the consensus play, then that's average. You're never going to win being average. You're just going to be average. You're going to be a C student. Be great. Tell them how to attack a 2-3 zone. Easy peasy. 2-3 zone is like it's so weird that I think like a 2-3 zone, a basic 2-3 zone is so dumb in basketball. And yet it works because teams either don't prepare with a zone beater offense, either with quick hitters or a continuity. and they just haven't been coached and they run the take 'em offense. If you don't know what the take 'em offense, it means give little Johnny the ball at the free throw line extended and go take 'em. Yeah, your coach sucks if you hear him say take 'em. Sorry, not sorry. Be great. Play 150 Josh Allen stacks. There you go. Great day to be great. Shout out to Ian. The free throw line is how you beat it. Well, sort of. Vacate, fill where they vacate. That's how you beat a zone. You make the zone vacate an area, and then you have a player fill the area that was vacated. That's it. And then do that again and again and again, and then the zone gets stretched completely out of, yeah, and you dunk, or you get a wide open look at a three, or backside screen the zone. Like, there's a lot of different ways to attack it, but this is not a basketball coaching X's and O's chat. You guys are bringing me back to a past life. High low, well, yeah, but again, you can't just, it's beating a zone is not as easy as, okay, I got somebody at flash to the free throw line throwing the ball, and then I've got somebody standing underneath, I'm gonna throw it down to them. The zone hasn't moved. It's not open. You got to move the zone before you can do that. You start coaching second grade travel basketball. What second graders are traveling, Frost? Where are they traveling? Disneyland? They can't even hold the ball. The ball's bigger than their head. It's bigger than their entire torso in second grade. Be great and play Tyson Bagent. Those two things are mutually exclusive. Being great and starting that dude in your daily fantasy lineup. Those things are mutually exclusive. You were dunking in second grade? Yeah, Oreos. Maybe chocolate chip cookies. See, y'all are off the rails now. We're no longer talking about daily fantasy, and YouTube's going to be pissed off because now we're talking about second grade basketball and cookies. So I'm going to end the show right there. I appreciate you guys watching. Chat, YouTube, I'm sorry that chat went off the rails, but I appreciate you guys sticking here with it. Thank you for watching. Drop a like on the video and look out for another one right there. They start dino dancing.
He's a legend.